Hello everybody, Heather the Bard here, and today I want to talk about how to hold a mandolin and begin picking. So the mandolin is not an instrument that's native to Irish music, however it has found a place in the genre. And so today, let's just begin with, first of all, you'll need a strap. And I have mine tied on right here at the base of the headstock. See, this is the neck, this is the headstock. Instruments that are like this, mandolins, guitars, ukuleles, those instruments and the like, their names of their different parts kind of mimic the names of our parts. And so you have a neck and you have a head. So I have my strap tied on right here at the base of the head. And it's attached here right at the end pin is what they call it on the butt of the instrument. And you want to have it adjusted so that it's comfortable for you to hold. Contorting yourself to hold an instrument is usually a little more of an issue with a guitar because it's a little bit bigger. However, you still want to pay attention to what your body's telling you. I'm a big fan of keeping ergonomics in mind. Everybody's built a little differently. The hold that works for me may not necessarily be exactly the hold that works for you, but you still need to try to keep a few basic standards in mind when you're holding your instrument. So you want to have it adjusted so that the neck is pointed slightly up. If the neck is pointed down, you end up kinking your wrist a little too much to play the notes, and that can put a lot of strain on your wrist, strain on your hand. It's going to slow things down, make things a lot harder. So you want to make sure that it's sitting right nicely in your lap and the neck is angled slightly up. And so with this hand, what I like to do, your fretting hand, and that's a lot easier because there's some people that play the opposite direction, so I'll just call it your fretting hand rather than your right or your left. You want to have the neck of the instrument braced on this bottom joint of your first finger. And I curl, I'm going to tip it here, and I curl my thumb around and just exert a little bit of pressure with this part of my thumb on the neck. So you see I've got this nice hold going on right there. This is very similar to if I were playing a violin and I had the instrument up in front of me. That is exactly how you would hold the neck of a violin. And the mandolin is kind of similar to the violin in a lot of respects, but we keep the hold there. And that enables you to have pretty good mobility with your fingers for playing melody and for playing basic chords. And this pressure right here enables you to get a good amount of pressure down on the string so that you get a good sound. Now for the picking part, what I like to do, there's a pick. This is a wood pick that was made for me by my husband, but it doesn't matter. A pick is a pick. It's just personal preference. But so what I do is, you see this spot on your finger right there, you want to kind of curl your finger a little bit, and the pick sits on it, pointed out, and right there, and this will give you a good grip on it. And you do that, and you just drop your thumb onto it, and you hold it like that. And now, and you can angle it a little bit differently. I'll shift here a little bit so you can see. See, some people play, because you want the pick to make a nice, to be perpendicular to the strings, a nice perpendicular angle, 90-degree angle to the strings. And so that may mean that how your hand sits, you may angle it a little more this way or a little more that way. It just kind of depends on how your hand works. But you want to make sure that your pick is making that nice perpendicular angle to the strings when you pick. And so when you play, you have good posture here with our hand. And the tricky thing about mandolin is there's no standard technique. Everybody plays a little bit different. I've sat next, there can be 4 mandolin players in a session, and every one of them will play a little bit differently. And That's one of the things about mandolin, whereas if you're playing classical violin or some of these other instruments, the technique is very, very set, very, very regimented. Mandolin is a little bit less so. But you want to have some mandolins. Now mine has a different bridge on it. Some mandolins, the strings will go clear down here, and the bridge will actually be up here, but the strings will sit and attach down at the base of the instrument. And so you can rest, some players will rest their wrist on that to pick. Some have their whole arm is kind of free floating. For me, I use my pinky. I tend to stick my pinky right there so that I can pick. It's just, but the main thing is keeping that perpendicular angle between the pick and your strings when you're plucking. And so what you do is you've got your nice hold, you're holding your instrument, you're comfortable on your lap, there's no tension in your neck, in your shoulders, in your back. You're sitting up nice and straight, just like you would with a wind instrument. You're sitting up nice and straight, but relaxed, and you curl your arm around your instrument and you pluck the strings. When it comes to picking, there's two types of strokes. There's a downstroke and an upstroke. And so the easiest and most basic exercise you need to learn is to alternate down and up strokes. And that is where you get a lot of your speed from, is alternating your down strokes and your up strokes. And so as a beginner, one of the big exercises that I would like to see you do is just practice. I'll pick a string and go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And do that enough times until it just feels natural, that that is the motion your hand needs to make. So there's some basics to get you started with mandolin. I'll do a few more of these videos on this instrument as well as time goes along, just like I will with the whistle and the flute. My name is Heather the Bard. If you've enjoyed these lessons or find them valuable or want to support a music teacher who's doing this independently, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That is patreon.com/HeatherTheBard. And that helps me out. Every little bit helps me to keep teaching and keep sharing my love of Irish music with all of you. And so I encourage you, practice picking. If you have questions, send them to me in the comments, and happy playing.